The big story at the London Film Festival this year is that David Cronenberg, the great body horror auteur, is being given the Fellowship Award. It's the highest award that the festival can bestow. Now, as many of you regulars here will know, David Cronenberg got the Kermode Fellowship Award a few years ago, so it's good to see the LFF finally catching up. But why is it that Cronenberg is such an important filmmaker? Well, if, like me, you're an old horror fan, somebody who grew up with horror movies in the 1970s, 1980s, Cronenberg was always the get-out-of-jail-free card. Cronenberg was the person whose work he could hold up when people said, oh, well, horror films, they're just about gore, they're just about violence, they're just about nothing. You just show them any Cronenberg movie and go, there you go. Subtext is supertext. For Cronenberg, the grue was always conceptual grue. It was always about something. More importantly, he was the person who defined what we came to refer to as plastic reality. You think of the films later of Clive Barker and the books of Clive Barker too, the films of Brian Usna, the films like Society. These are all films which built on something which Cronenberg had begun back in the 1970s, the idea of taking a metaphor and visualizing it through literally stretchy, rubbery, plastic reality. The key to Cronenberg's genius was that he somehow found a way of taking metaphors that you often find in literature and making them physical, making them visual, making them cinematic. So whether it's the children of rage as expressed in The Brood, or that strange video slot that appears in Max Wren's stomach in Videodrome, a film which asked, what if the censors were right? What if these films really do change us physically? Or The Mugwumps of Naked Lunch, a brilliant literary adaptation. These are all metaphors made flesh. And as with all great horror filmmakers, Cronenberg's films were never just about horror. Think of The Sadness of the Fly, with that wonderful exchange in which Jeff Goldblum's degenerating character says, I'm an insect who dreamed he was a man and loved it, but now the dream is over and the insect is awake. Think of the heartbreak of Dead Ringers, featuring not one, but two brilliant performances by Jeremy Irons. Think of the strange psychological sadness of Spider. Think also of the glacial chill of Crash, a pretty much perfect movie, one of the few films I ever gave 5 out of 5 stars to, and a film which, as far as I know, is still outlawed to this day in Westminster, the area where the LFF are honouring David Cronenberg right now. But the most important thing, I think, is expressed in a single line from Videodrome, a film which is ragged and problematic, and some people think those ideas were done better in Existence, but still, for me, remains the key Cronenberg text. It's an exchange where Max Wren is trying to understand what Videodrome is, and a colleague explains it to him like this. She says, it has something you don't have. It has a philosophy. That's what makes it dangerous. And for me, that's the key to Cronenberg's films. They all have a philosophy, and that's what makes them dangerous, and that's what makes them brilliant.